Introduction to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Identity and Access Management, or IAM. Running applications on the cloud involves multiple functions. Managing a variety of workflows. Assigning access rules for specific groups of users with simple policies. Empowering teams to acquire and manage their own infrastructure services, and so on. And all this needs to be done while maintaining overall visibility and control. Hi, can you tell me if there is a way to easily establish governance across all Oracle Cloud Infrastructure services?
The Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Identity and Access Management, or IAM service, is included for you by default. It lets you control who has access to your cloud resources. You can control what type of access a group of users have and to which specific resources.
How can I get started with the IAM?
The IAM service is enabled by default at no additional charge. With the IAM service, you can leverage a single model for authentication and authorization across all the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure services. You can access the IAM service using the console, REST API, Command Line Interface, or CLI, or SDKs. The very first user in your account is the default administrator. All subsequent users are either created via the IAM service or via the federation with your existing identity provider, where you explicitly grant them privileges to interact with specified cloud resources.
When you say resource, do you mean any cloud object that I create and use in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure?
That's right. For example, compute instances, block storage volumes, virtual cloud networks or VCNs, subnets, route tables, and so on across the compartments in your tenancy.
Can you tell me more about tenancy and compartments?
A tenancy is the equivalent of an account. The tenancy contains all of your Oracle Cloud Infrastructure resources. It is provisioned with a single top-level compartment called the root compartment. You can then create other compartments as required. A compartment is a logical container used to organize and isolate cloud resources. Each resource is in exactly one compartment. Permissions in a parent compartment are inherited by child compartments. Compartments are global, distinct from physical containers like regions and availability domains. Resources can be connected or shared across compartments. For each account, the service automatically creates a top-level compartment known as the root compartment, much like the root folder in a file system. Users can then create child compartments as required.
Sure. So when I create resources, should I create them in the root compartment or one of the child compartments?
Generally, resources should be created in a compartment that is not the root compartment. It is best to design your compartment hierarchy before you begin creating compartments and resources. This is because access rules that you set for the root compartment will be inherited by all the child compartments within it. Therefore, it will be difficult to control or selectively assign access rules if resources are created in the root compartment. Currently, resources cannot be moved from one compartment to another. Compartments help simplify permission management. For example, you might create a separate compartment for your networking resources, VCNs, subnets, internet gateways, and so on, and then allow only network administrators to access that compartment.
Is that so? How can I specify who has access and to what extent?
You can do that by assigning policies. A policy specifies who can access which resources and how. Access is granted at the compartment and tenancy levels. You can write a policy that gives a group a specific type of access within a specific compartment, or the policy can be at the tenancy level, where the group automatically gets the same type of access to all the compartments inside the tenancy. Policies are one or more statements written in human-readable format. Allow group, group underscore name. 2. Verb, resource hyphen type. In tenancy, tenancy underscore name. Allow group, group underscore name. 2. Verb, resource hyphen type. In compartment, compartment underscore name. Where, conditions. Allow group, Project A underscore admins to manage all resources in compartment. Project A underscore compartment. Policies support the security principle of least privilege. By default, users are not allowed to perform any actions.
How can I enable and disable user access?
Currently, you cannot disable user access. However, you can reset passwords or remove keys and thereby change that user's group memberships. You can also revoke permissions by simply removing users from any group that has been given specific permissions. However, you can manage complex organizations and rules with logical groups of users and resources, and simple-to-define policies.
Can you give me an example?
Here are 2 compartments with certain resources in each. Specific access rules need to be assigned to Bob and Jane. Bob is in the Network Admins group, and Jane is in the App Developer group. For enabling access, Bob and Jane need to be given console passwords to use the web console and/or API signing keys to use the REST API and SDKs. They must also be placed in groups to be given access to cloud resources. A new user has no permissions until you place the user in one or more groups, and there's at least one policy that gives that group permission to either the tenancy or a compartment. Bob and Jane can be members of multiple groups, though. Groups are used to grant privileges to cloud resources. A group has no permissions until you write at least one policy that gives that group permission to either the tenancy or a compartment. IAM resources, compartments, users, groups, and policies are global, so you can access them across all regions. Here is the URL for you to sign into the web-based console. Use the console to access and manage your Oracle Cloud Infrastructure services. After logging in, you will see that access to different interfaces requires appropriate credentials. API signing key. The API signing key is required when using the API in conjunction with the SDK. The key is an RSA key pair in the PEM format. Minimum 2048 bits required. In the interfaces, you can copy and paste the PEM public key. The PEM format of the public key that is used for API signing in is actually a certificate that is exchanged in API signing in using HTTPS. This is different from the SSH key used for logging into the instance, which is actually a key. Instance SSH key. The SSH key is used to access the compute instance. When you launch an instance, you need to provide the public key from the key pair. In the console, you will need to copy and paste the contents of the public key file. Swift password. You use a Swift client to access object storage service for the purposes of backing up an Oracle database system, or DB system. So, that is how you can easily manage access to your resources on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure.
Great. Thanks for sharing all this information.
You're welcome. Please go to the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure portal to learn more. Be sure to sign up for the free trial and get started right away.